We are just about ready to get the boat off and head to Ely. However, there is a small task to perform first. Last week, our Eberspacher packed up and started smoking like mad. I was thinking about servicing it myself. Then I looked at some of the instructions and videos and everything, and I was like, this is just going to make too much of a mess. So when we got a recommendation of a company to mail them to, it's up north, and the guy up there, Ian, got talking to me on the phone and said he could turn around pretty quick. So the price was pretty good, and I thought, okay, let's just do that rather than have the mess on the boat. So we disconnected everything, and we got it ready to ship, and we sent it off. It's come back earlier than I expected, so instead of coming back by train to pick it up, we're waiting for a shipment today, and I just got a message saying that the couriers are on their way. So I'm going to go with George and get ready to pick it up, but in the meantime, cut to some clips of us taking the unit off and making a right mess of things.
Our Eberspacher hydronic D4, I think it is, decided to start smoking because it had bad health issues already and thought it was a good idea to pick up tobacco. Anyway, it started pumping out some white smoke the last time we ran it after a couple of false starts. So all I really have to do is remove the unit and then get it into a box and ship it off. But I've come in earlier and I found out that our diesel connection, which in most of the ones I've seen are like a rubber hose that goes in on the top to put in the fuel. Ours comes in through the side. Ours is a copper connection, but luckily I traced it all the way back to the point at which it connects to the fuel supply, and there's a valve back there. So I can turn that valve off. That will turn off the fuel supply up here, so then I can run the engine and everything while the Eberspacher's gone, and we don't have to worry about anything like lighting on fire. So I'll turn that valve off, come back up here, figure out how to break this connection, take off all of the exhaust hoses, unclip the electrical box, and at that point I've got to clamp off the water supplies, and then the whole thing should just lift off and I can send it on. So it's not a big job, except for nothing on a boat is ever not a big job. So first thing is turn off the fuel supply. Down here there is a little valve that I just need to reach in and turn off, and it's got two arrows pointing in two different directions and no indication whatsoever as to which direction is off and on. So that's our valve, and it was all the way open counterclockwise, so I've turned it off clockwise. So electrical connections right here. So I am going to have to break this and just get it that zip tie broken. And then if you can somehow press those in while pulling. There we go. It's just a really clip and a hose.
So it's that one that's just come up?
So that's just the air intake valve, so it just basically keeps the air coming in from down low. Mm-hmm.
And what's that?
That's the exhaust. So this
the whole unit
is the actual long nut that holds the whole unit to a bracket. So now that just pops up over there, and then this whole thing comes off the bracket. Then what we've got left is our fuel supply and our two liquid supplies. So basically when used in medical situations, these are hemostats. They're used for cutting off, like you take your femoral artery. Okay, if you ever have to do this to yourself and we're dealing with your femoral artery, you're already dead. If you were trying to cut off somebody else's femoral artery, you would put this across it and clamp it into place, and that takes the vessel and closes it down so it doesn't leak, because not having your femoral artery leaking is really important to human health. In our case, these ones are actually not proper hemostats, like you could use them in a pinch, but what they are is for removing fish hooks from big fish. Found them online, and in theory we should be able to put them onto the very flexible portion of our lines here try and find the place where there's a nothing to bite onto, and just clamp that down, and hopefully that will keep anything from flowing through there.
Is that pressurized? Is it going to start spouting?
And it's not pressurized, it's just gravity off of the header canister. You know, I admitted to my mistakes. I'll admit to my mistakes. My mistake was fairly straightforward and simple and stupid. Fundamentally, there's two hoses feeding in, and I clamped one of them off, and I clamped the other one off. And I didn't check. One of them is the feed, so one of them is going to be coming, you know, basically higher than the other, and one of them is going to be going out and going lower than the other. And what I think I did was clamp off the one that's lower, right? Didn't clamp off the one that's higher, and just thought, oh, you know, I'll just peel this off of here. And then basically that meant that I just had a vent by which gravity could spurt all of the antifreeze and fluid out of this unit. So we lost a bunch of antifreeze and water. Whoops. You know, but it's not diesel, it's not incendiary, so, you know, we don't have to worry about it. We just have to replace it. We were going to have to replace it anyway to bleed it off. It's kind of obviated the need for those hemostat things. So I'm just going to break this other connection, get this thing off, drain out a little bit of extra antifreeze, I'm sure, and then start working on the fuel connection.
Look, nothing comes out now.
Yeah, no, because that's the one that we drained. The reason I had the hemostat idea was because when we got it serviced before, the fellow that was doing the servicing had much nicer ones, and I was like, oh, that was a smart idea. And it is a smart idea, but if you're going to do that smart idea, buy the good expensive ones, not the cheap, you know, weak ones, which are definitely what those are, because they couldn't even clamp down that thing. So, you know, if your femoral artery's going, don't use fish hemostats. Okay, one piece on this bit that's coming out of the Eberspacher, one central one here. No idea which goes in what direction to break. Okay, that went loose, so that I think is probably a good sign. So that's just come loose, so there's our fuel. Successfully disconnected.
Well done.
Now I gotta just find a box to put it in and wrap it up for shipping and get it off to wherever the heck it's going. Today's the day that our Eberspacher gets delivered and we start our trip to Crick. George is very excited to go outside. Okay. Ready? Okay. No messing with the duckies.
So this is Bob, who is hanging around outside our boat. Bob waits around every day, and he has trained Michael to feed him peanuts, and we've bought peanuts especially for him. So Michael's just gone over to try and get our parcel, complicated by the fact that the road's closed today, and we don't want to leave before we get our Eberspacher, because, you know, we need it. Need hot water. Although, having said that, when we're cruising we will get hot water from the engine if we cruise long enough. I've realised getting ready to leave our mooring for a cruise is very different to just waking up when you're continuously cruising and going. Especially because we've got like a shed here, so anything we don't want to take that's like on the bow of the stern we can carry over there, and we just need to like get all the deliveries that we wanted to get here before we leave, because we've got really used to just ordering things and them arriving at the boat after not being able to do that while cruising. And then there's all the usual kind of engine checks that we need to do, which are probably much more thorough than we do when we were just continuously cruising, because this boat's hardly been anywhere for 10 months. We need to put solar panels down, obviously, and undo the Wi-Fi antenna that we're attached to that's on land. So I know we've said we're taking the boat to Crick, but I don't know if we've said why, although you probably already know. But every year it's where the biggest kind of narrowboat show is. And last year we had a stand there where we were selling my maps and some of my earrings, and it was really good fun. We met loads and loads of people. We sold more maps than we were expecting. So we thought we'd go again this year. Last year we said it was a one-off. This year I'm saying this is the last year we're doing it, but who knows. Yeah, so we didn't need to take the boat there. We could have driven there, like hired a car and driven there, but because we haven't moved the boat all year, we were like, oh, it's a good opportunity to take the boat out. I'm not sure at what point we regret that, but at the moment I'm really excited about the journey. Okay, Bob's gone, and now the swans have turned up waiting for their food. And here comes Michael and the Eberspacher.
Of course, they haven't figured out how to eat it on the grass.
There he goes.
A butter knife through packing tape. We shipped it off about 20 hours of it arriving. Ian gave me a message on WhatsApp and told me what was up. That the only problem was that it was coked up, and it was fairly severely coked up, but it was no damage or anything. So he gave me a link onto his website to pay for it and got it into a shipment that arrived back less than 24 hours later. So really good service. He did tell me that there's this note that he would include that basically says that Eberspacher shouldn't run red diesel, or if you're running red diesel, they should be serviced more often, which is, of course, not the thing that Eberspacher ever told us.
So this is it come back. She's had a polish.
Yep, she's definitely cleaner. So, you know, basically I just have to get it hooked on, get those hoses on, get the fuel line on, get this installed, get those connected, and we're good to go, although we'll still have to fill in all of the missing antifreeze.
Yeah. So
like we have to top up our antifreeze quite a lot, and then we have to bleed it before we can actually run it.
So it's turned into a much bigger getting ready to leave process, because we've decided to change our alternator belts. One of them is fraying, so it just seems to make sense to do it before we leave, especially because we're going on rivers, and then there's a tidal section as well between Denver and Salters Load. So if we were just on canals, I wouldn't be so worried, but the fact that we're going on rivers and a tidal river, like that would be the worst place for them to go. So poor Michael is down in the engine, and this is your least favourite job on the boat, right?
No, but it's close. I'm really grumpy. She wanted me to say how grumpy I am. I am like level 2 out of level 2 grumpy. It's a pain in the butt. I mean, like, in some cases literally, because of the way that you gotta be bent. Mainly it's a pain in the knees, pain in the ankles, pain in the fingertips. But the alternator belts are now on there, and they're tightened up. The Eberspacher can go in now, and then we can top up the antifreeze for the engine, and then run the engine and make sure everything's fine, and then we're good to go. Assuming that nothing's gotten wrapped around the prop in the last 6 months.
And then we've got to
detach from the Wi-Fi antenna, yeah.
And carry a load of stuff to the shed. So you want the Eberspacher?
Yeah, it's back over.
George knows something's going on, don't you, George? You know.
Excellent. So, I mean, it's fairly simple because there really is just this bracket that one bolt holds it to. You know where the fire extinguishers are, right?
So this is one of the things that we were waiting to get delivered. It's basically some wireless microphones. So yeah, we wanted to video and vlog the trip to Crick this summer because it's our one big trip out. But we really, or I really, wanted to do it differently to our other cruising videos because obviously we vlogged every single trip we did around the network. And there was like 400 videos, and in the end, as you know, I was very behind with my editing, but also I just fell into this formula which worked and I liked, but editing became quite dull for me, and I'm sure watching them you just kind of knew which elements were going to come next and which like standard shots I was going to do, because it was just, yeah, after 400 it was just like such a routine. So I wanted to mix up the way that we do the vlogs, still do the cruising but do a bit more about getting ready for Crick and the Crick show. And so yeah, so we bought these microphones to try and improve the sound when we are on the back of the boat and just walking around, really. Oh, there's some wires in the case, so I guess that's for charging. I don't really know. And then we've got the two microphones, one for me and one for Michael, and then this little adapter which goes into the phone. Okay, so I've got them both charging, and that's the start.
That puts me in mic mode. Push this. Nope, wants to go back there. Now we've got volume. I've set it onto 6. On camera that's picking me up, it's the one that's by my microphone. So it's this guy here would be picking me up if you can hear me at all. This is me talking at normal voice at this distance where your microphone shouldn't be able to pick me up over the engine. Can you hear me now?
I think we're ready to go. Taken everything off the boat that needed to be in the shed. We've put the, what are they called? Solar panels down, and we've taken the Wi-Fi antenna off, which means we need to reconnect the other Wi-Fi antenna. George is over there, ready to go. Tested the microphones, and it's really windy, so this is a good test to see if it was a wise purchase. It's really windy, so it'll be a good test of Mike going into the lock. I've just seen someone's got in the lock.
Oh, good.
We knew that would happen. So yeah, good fun.
We're going to have to learn what happens when you're recording over there and I'm recording. I'm standing here making no noise, but I've got a microphone. And if I don't know you're recording something and I'm going, oh, da-da-da-da-da, then the fact that we're in mono is probably bad. Yep, we've lost the lock. Do you want to give me those pieces of wood?
Oh yeah, this is going to be hopefully an earring stand for the boat show. I don't really want to leave that behind. So we're off. George and I are running over to the lock. Well, to the lock landing really, in case Michael needs me to catch a rope. And Michael's hopefully made it out of the mooring.
Now we're only 45 degrees to correct.
So Michael made it over to the lock landing. The other boats have gone, so just resetting the lock. And it is windy.
What the hell is beeping?
Oh, it's the roadworks.
Oh,
It's over there.
okay.
Do you think it was you?
I didn't know what it was. I heard the beeping. Is that thing on its way up?
It's on the 2-minute timer, but I can go back now.
Okay.
How was the wind?
He's fine. I started speaking Russian. I'm not really sure why. I was all like, I'm turning the wrong way around. I hope you weren't recording it. Anyway.
Well, I just recorded that.
Yeah, well, fair enough. But I was like, turned around and I'm like, Why am I talking the Russian? I should be talking the Ukrainian, strong Ukrainian voice. Yes. Maximum borscht. Yes. Yeah, raise gate. Oh, 53 seconds, then raise gate.
Looks ready. There's Michael, testing his boating skills because it's really windy.
Sucks. I've got no way to stop the boat.
Why can't you stop the boat?
Because if I turn on the engine, I will suck up. And so this is always the problem when you get started again, and it's the first time I've been cruising in a while. Because we pulled up to the landing, tied around the bollard, and as I was leaving, I left the rope around the bollard but forgot about the little vertical T-bar. So when I was sitting over here, starting to let the front end go out, and I wanted to push off, I couldn't get the rope to swing around because it kept getting stuck on the T-bar, so it was staying around the bollard. So by that point, my nose is going over towards the weir, so the only thing I can do is kick the prop over hard, push the back end over, use the rope to lever me straight into the lock, but I'm running out of rope because I'm just holding onto it with one hand while pushing with the left hand. And then I get to the end and I'm like, okay, I'll hold it, I'll keep holding it until it's as tight as possible. And then the only thing I can do is just let go and let it spring from the tension off as far away from the prop as possible, start pushing forward, and then once I know I'm going into the lock, kill the prop so that I don't get the rope wrapped around it.
Meanwhile,
then I had to climb down the side to get the rope.
Meanwhile, I was thinking, oh, isn't he clever? He's using the rope to propel himself in the wind.
Which is what I was, well, not propel myself, but, you know, navigate. I was helping myself navigate with the rope. It looked clever, but it was foolish.
And meanwhile, you're waving at me to come and help, and I was just waving back.
Help! And you're like, nope, I'm just videotaping.
We're moving.
Yep. We're on our way. Misery, happiness. Not sure which is which, but one of them is a crick.
Feels really weird to be moving again.
It does. I mean, it's always funny when we get started again, and there's that very quick realization of, I've forgotten how to do all of this.
Well, it's been like 8 months.
Yeah. But, yeah, we'll make the trip up to the Fish and Duck, where hopefully the wind has died down a bit, because unfortunately it's coming from exactly the wrong direction. But if possible, we'll pull into the Fish and Duck and get a top-up of diesel and a new color bottle.
Did they do the wire for the electrics?
I have no idea, but we'll find out.
That.
Yeah. Yeah, if possible, we'll pull in there and get that sorted. And then on to Ely to hopefully be able to make a Tesco shop and sort of stock up. And then my plan, is we just get on to Denver as fast as possible.
Not today.
No, tomorrow. But hopefully, you know, knock on a lot of wood, because it's a fairly long trip. Make it in time for the crossing today, or to have a nice
Tomorrow.
The next day. Yeah, that day, or have a nice leisurely.
Like Denver's lovely anyway. So just around the corner from
Fish and Duck.
And it's still really windy, so I'm not looking forward to the turn.
I mean, it'll be fine. The wind is coming at us from sort of over that way, and we're coming up the river this way, and then we're going to have to turn down the river, you know, back that way. I was worried about it if the wind was coming straight at us, like down that river.
Because then it would push us into the boats.
Yeah, but it's not, so
then we've got
if anything, it'll be pushing us away from the boats, and it'll probably be spoiled by the land, so I think we'll be fine.
We just made the turn, and apparently there's no room on the pontoon tomorrow, so it should be fun. We got on the pontoon. Michael's just getting the empty gas bottle out of the locker, and there's diesel going into the back of the boat. So it was a mission getting on, but we did it. So that's where we've just reversed out of, and that's where we're going. I nearly did say to you at one point, we're going to Ely, not Water Beach.
I know where I'm going.
Look at that one. So we've topped up with diesel at the back and we filled up our jerry can. We didn't put diesel in the front because we're probably not going to light our fire, and there's some diesel in there and we can top it up on the way back. Yep, we got a new galley gas, which it ran out yesterday, so that was good timing. And now we're on our way to Ely, which you can actually, I don't know if you can see it behind me, but you can see the cathedral. It's not actually that far from here, and probably would be tempted to go further, except we do need to do that Tesco shop, and it's really convenient at Ely because it's right on the canal. And then I don't know, sorry, right on the river. And then I don't know when the next supermarket is, probably March. So yeah, we'll stop at Ely for the night. Just called Denver, and the crossing to Salter's Load, or the tide to get us to Salter's Load tomorrow, is at 8 a.m. So I laughed and said, we're not doing that because we'll be in Ely. So on Saturday it's 9:15, so I think we'll aim for that one.
Yeah, we'll get down there tomorrow afternoon, do a walk to down to Market. Maybe. Not Market Harborough, which is what I said, but down to Market. And then, yeah, just be a pleasant day.
Hopefully.
Not too long. It's about a 5-hour...
It's quite a long way, and I know there's that long stretch that's just...
Straight.
Nothing.
Nothing, yeah. It's about a 5-hour trip to Denver, but we'll get ourselves to Denver tomorrow. And then...
we'll have made a good, start on the trip.
Yeah.
Very close to Ely, the cathedral, it just dominates the landscape as you come up here.
Because I'm not saying that it dominates the landscape, but it dominates that sector of the landscape.
Yeah, particularly if
you're looking in that direction, you go, oh, well, that dominates that 3-degree circle over that way. But, it's impressive. And it is impressive.
If you come and the sun hits the cathedral this way, it's stunning, but the sun's not out for us today. So
it's out there somewhere, but it's kind of sitting beside a great big cloud. And I just saw what I think is a KC-135 tanker overfly us. So, in case you need to do any inner refueling, it's available in this area.
Okay, good.
They don't have diesel though. Over there.
Is that?
Between the wide beam and the narrow.
So because of the mooring pontoon at the fishing dock, we put the gas on the back because we couldn't get it on the front. We got the empty one off because it was light, but the heavy one, the full one is heavy, so.
Yes, I do. Okay. There you go.
We made it, George.
George is happy.
I don't know if he is that happy.
George is all like, I am ready to look at that dental floss in your hand, Daddy. That looks like a dental flossing cookie. It might be a cookie.
You know what he is ready for?
Boy, with like a ball froze. we're in Ely. Yeah. Which we didn't get. Did you get a shot of the cathedral?
Yeah, it wasn't
If
very.
you didn't get a shot of the cathedral, there's the cathedral. That bit there. And
My shot wasn't very good because the sun wasn't out.
oh well.
But yeah, we got mooring. Don't know how busy it is because there's a whole load of moorings down there as well.
Yeah, it's not too
I mean,
bad.
it's quite full, but there are spaces.
But it's just for an overnight anyway. I'm going to take a walk over to the Aldi and the Sainsbury's and then the Tesco's and load up with like stuff for the trip, mainly food supplies.
I'm gonna tidy the boat.
You know what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to go throw it to that ball over to that dog over there. Yeah. That dog's going to get a ball. You're not going to get a ball.
I saw it eventually.
It's a very handsome duck. There's a duck. It just strikes you as regal. You know, definitely a good-looking duck. Ely is a nice little town. It's like a good-sized, small walking sort of experience. You can kind of go everywhere with a fairly short walk. Few hills, and definitely some, for lack of a better word, confusing roads. Because you can definitely end up getting lost in a lot of it. But yeah, it's just a pleasant little place to take a meander. And it's fairly easy to get lost here, but also find little shops and a lot of groceries, and of course the cathedral and Oliver Cromwell's childhood home. And yeah, pretty typical experience of boating is if you arrive in a new place, you need to find groceries, you need to find possibly laundry, you need to find all the things that you need to have in order to make the rest of the trip. So, short walk over to an Aldi. I'm going to go inside, fill up with some groceries, and then I'm going to have my hands full, so I won't be able to keep carrying this thing. So Ely also has a small little Asian grocery. It stocks FSG classic chili oil, which oddly enough is really kind of hard to find, but is really good. So when I find the place that sells a bottle, I buy a bottle.
Michael's back. He got me a treat.
I got these double chocolate cookies, and I got me a treat, which was the FSG classic chili.
We like that.
Yeah, I like that one.
And you also got some red bean mochi.
And I loaded myself up with other just sort of basics like Warburtons and citrus.
So Aldi done, Sainsbury's done, and now you're off to Tesco
No, Tesco.
because you're a bargain hunter.
Well, bargain hunter plus it's like one of those things where not everybody has all the products. So, if you don't go to multiple shops, then you might end up with the selection you want, but you pay a lot. If you go to multiple shops, you definitely end up with the selection you want, and you pay less.
Michael's just left for Tesco's, and I've got to put all the shopping away. But I was just going to look up how far we've got to go tomorrow, and I thought I would show you. I'm sure most people know about this, but in case anyone doesn't, we use Canal Plan. So you can just click on Plan a Journey, and then we're going from the Ely Visitor Moorings to Denver Sluice there. You can change how many hours per day you want to do, or you can just use the default. And then you can add in places you want to stop at. You can do round trips, one-way trips, you can do like multi-day trips, obviously, and then it will just tell you how far it is. So this is tomorrow. We've got 16 miles to do, which is quite far, but there's no locks. So if there was locks, it would say here, and it tells you, you know, what rivers you're going on or canals. And then you scroll down and there's a map, so it just shows we're going from Ely up to Denver Sluice, and then once we're there, we can cross to the middle level.
We got the choice. We got the factor. We got the choice. That's it. That's where we're at.
Very good. You're going to cook dinner?
Yeah.